kind of like that one. That was good.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey guys, there you go. Hey guys.
Hey, hey,
Very, very open.
Hey.
Very inviting.
Hey.
Very right?
What's up?
Hey.
What's up, bros? What's up, bros and
How
gals?
you doing, fellas?
How you guys doing,
fellas?
fellas? Hey yo, guys. Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to another episode of Hard Fried History. It's a fun time. How are you doing
That's right.
there at home? I'm doing good. I'm with my lovely co-host Henry Price.
Hey.
My
How are
name,
you?
my name's Josh Stokes. I did that backwards.
It's cool.
And that's fun. And I'm in a hotel room in Atlanta with Zod Debji behind me,
He's there.
trying to
He's
sleep.
here.
He's flicking me off. But we're gonna talk about some history today.
It's a tired boy.
He's a tired man. Up so late with great hats. But today we're gonna talk about a special episode where we're gonna talk about the Amazonians.
It's
Wow.
time to give it to
Wow.
the ladies. Am I right? It's the ladies.
Dad, don't ever say that again, dude.
Month.
Don't ever.
Month's all about you.
Don't ever.
Ladies. This month goes out to all the ladies
This is
out there.
This is like the worst strip club DJ
All
I've ever seen. It's really bad.
All the
And-
ladies in the car say yeah,
Okay.
right? Because they're probably listening. I assume.
And
If you're at work, don't say yeah. People might wonder about you.
if there were actual Amazonians still walking the earth, I hope that they would spear you to death.
Yeah, I would get an arrow in the neck, probably.
Death arrow.
Yeah,
Death
for sure.
arrow.
No, I'd be like,
Neck.
really good book, like really good. It was The Amazons by Adrian Mayer, 2014. It's very good. It's very well written. Real page turner, I must say. And it's got a whole bunch of pictures in it. And the pictures are really cool. And all of her conclusions are really cool. And the maps are also Senior Dopenstein, I must say. So yeah, pick it up.
Did you say the words Senior Dopenstein? Okay.
Senior Dopenstein. It's a homebrew. It's a homebrew way to say cool,
Moving on.
I'm trying to get it off. Anyway, talking about the Amazons, the region of the region that we'll be primarily talking about today is what's known as Scythia, which I had never heard of. We're going to be talking primarily about like the Caucasus region.
Scythia does feel like you need to say Scythia.
Doesn't it?
It does feel like it does feel like you have to do that thing that the people who like metal do.
There's an edge to Scythia, right?
That does, yeah.
It's the Caucasus region in like Central Asia, southern Russia, as well as Mongolia. That you see legends of warrior women pop up not only in Greek myth, because you think about the Amazons, everyone usually thinks of the Greeks because they're the ones who wrote a lot of this stuff down, but there are also legends of the Amazons in like Persian, Egyptian.
Deadass. Before we looked into this, I literally thought it had something to do with the Amazon.
No, they.
I thought it was. That's what I mean. That's the same word, dude. Sometimes that's what learning's all about.
Yeah, I think the river was actually it was obviously named by the Spaniards, but I think they were hearkening to. I think there was supposedly some legend of like warrior women living at the end of the river, and that they were like, oh, like the Amazons, and so they just call it. I think that's the story of like they were like, oh, there's a tribe of warrior women, there's a tribe of warrior babes on this river, man. Let's go find them. This must be the Amazon River, and that history really is that dumb sometimes. And that's one of my favorite things about it, is that it's like, oh, we're all children, we're all the same. It's cool,
Yeah, you're right. You're right on about that.
It's fun, it's kind of like, oh, everybody's immature and dumb. This is I feel better.
I love how many different types of people, their names are just like, they're the names that other people gave them, and they just start calling themselves that.
They just went with it, Colonialism. All right. The legends of the Amazon also pop up in Persian, Egyptian, and Indian stories because the raids were conducted in these areas as well. The foundational mythological text for like the Scythian region is something known as the Nart Saga. And the Amazons themselves, or the Scythians, I should say, they were encountered by the Greeks in the 7th century BCE. The word Amazon is more or less an anomaly. Like it first appeared, according to Mayer and Homer's Iliad, as Amazonas Anti-Nerai, which they're referred to as a group of people. And so you have Amazonas with Amazons, and then Anti-Nerai is interpreted as opposing men. I think that's the most literal translation. But a modern English, but the opposing men is a modern English interpretation. In the Greek epic diction, anti means equivalent or matching. It's supposed to invoke a sense of like counteracting forces, like plus and minus, not necessarily for or against. And so if in the Greek epic diction interpretation, concurrent with the standards of the time, it would be interpreted to mean something as like the equals of men. And so the Greeks heard about these people who were also like iron workers and horse riders. And the Scythians, or the Amazons, are like a sub-tribe group under the Scythians. But they heard about the Scythians and the Amazons in particular, and they chose to emphasize the feminine element because it was foreign to their culture. Like women were eclipsing men in the minds of the Greeks by virtue of that equality, if that makes sense. Like that was the anomalous thing. It was like, holy shit, you guys are equal. Let's talk about what women do with you guys, them being equals and all, because in Greeks it was the complete opposite, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And the Amazons were thought of as purely like a Greek fantasy for a while, of just a bunch of Greek dudes basically like writing pervy fan fiction, like, oh, what if I had a hot babe I could fight with, she could shoot arrows too, and I had to wrestle her, and just kind of like, okay. It's and like this is like a lot. This is also like, a lot of history.
Because if you actually read the stuff, like it's like it does feel like does feel like a little bit like some nerdy dude being like, and she had big boobs.
Yep.
and
she
was
could
fast.
Kick my ass.
Yeah, she was fast, man. Like,
yeah, basically, she could shoot a bow, and she beat everyone at arm wrestling.
She was muscular too. It was like muscular, a lot,
but not in like an off-putting way.
Yeah, it was
like just muscular, like just sort of.
He
was
staring at nobody when he was describing this. Yeah, he was just staring, like he was in a room full of people, but just staring off to the side and be like, "This is
calm down, Herodotus.
About a lot more.
Go to bed, Herodotus. What the fuck." And it was thought of as a fantasy, like I was saying, for a while, but archaeology is only just now starting to bear out a tenable historical record, which is why I believe Adrian Mayer wrote the book, because it was like, I finally I got citations, man. I can do this. No. So why did this emerge? Why did like gender equal societies emerge in this region? Mayer posits that it was a necessity of steppe life, that young boys and girls learn to ride and hunt together because every individual was a stakeholder in this incredibly harsh, cold environment. Everyone was expected to pull their own weight, but specifically in regards to like, we need to eat. We need rabbits.
Yeah.
We need minks. We need to eat. Like everybody go shoot a bow and get food, because damn. Around 700 BCE to 500 AD, this is the flourishing of Scythian life. A lot of the evidence we have for their culture comes from their kurgans, which is it's a burial mound. You can find kurgans like around the Black Sea. I think specifically it was mentioned from like Ukraine stretching into Central Asia through like southern Russia. There's like a lot of, and like Mongolia and the steppes and everything. There's more kurgans over there. They found weapons, not like weapons buried with women, like axes, bows and arrows, and spears and whatnot, as well as like coins. And it was not uncommon for a warrior to be buried with their horses, kind of reinforcing the nomadic aspects of their life. In the 6th century BCE, there's Greek colonies are sprinkled around the Black Sea, the northern Black Sea in particular. They're brought into contact with the Scythians. Like I said, the Amazons are considered like an ethnic subgroup of the larger Scythians, focused around the Black Sea area. So the way I see it is like you have the Mediterranean and the communities in like, North Africa and Europe around the Mediterranean. And then there's like a micro parallel of that, or like a parallel situation around the Black Sea, and then even further in like the Sea of Azov, but the Sea of Azov is pretty small. Pontus is frequently mentioned. It seems like a hotbed of Amazonian cultural activity. The Argonautica, which is the retelling of Jason and the Argonauts by Apollonius of Rhodes, 280 BC. The Pontus, he said, Apollonius of Rhodes mentioned specifically Pontus, which is like northeastern Turkey, and Colchis, which is modern like Georgia and Armenia. He said that Pontus and Colchis were occupied by 3 different tribes famed for women warriors. And then the Thermodon River is mentioned a lot in ancient accounts for the Amazonians, with Themyscira being like a city, I believe, that was also Amazonian. Then your boy Herodotus comes into play. Herodotus is like a 5th century Greek historian. He tells this story of Scythians from the Don region, which is Don River is in like Don River leading into the Black Sea. We're talking like southern Russia again. Scythians, male Scythians go to war against the Medes and the Cimmerians, and they're gone for a while. And the women are starting to be like, where are our husbands? This is kind of crazy. What are they off doing? So the woman, they mate with the enslaved of the tribe and then raise that generation of children and like teach them how to fight because they know how to fight.
Yeah.
And then when the men finally do come home from warfare, they drive away those men with like, this intergenerational group of enslaved men, Scythian women, and the children they taught how to fight. So it's like, we don't fucking need you anymore. You can go fuck off. If that's what you want to do, you go do it.
They get like, and let's be very clear about Herodotus, Greek 5th century Greek historian, also who describes like the first person to describe Ghana and describe the practice by which like they got gold in Ghana, which was was proven out to be the true process.
The
like,
drums.
No, it's the drums and the like how like it was like where it was at, like it was like where they got gold at, like that was in a lake, that was like on an island.
Yeah.
Flood, and then they could just almost pick up the gold.
That's pretty good. He was prolific.
Yeah, and so that was something that was true that he said in the 5th century. So this could also be very, very true.
Yeah, I tend to trust him. It wasn't no bullshitter. I mean, I'm sure on some things.
He's been proven out. He's proven out on some things. Yeah.
Yeah. Less sketch than others, we should say.
Yeah.
There's another story that Herodotus tells. The Greeks take Amazonian slaves on their ships. So they're sailing across the Black Sea into the Aegean. They stow away their weapons. They stow away all these Amazonian weapons down below decks. Women manage to get their weapons and mutiny, but cannot sail. And so they're blown to Kremnoy, which is modern Taganrog on the Sea of Azov, which is like it goes like Mediterranean, Black Sea, Sea of Azov in Russia, like northeastern direction, right?
I have, and that's and now I'm starting to think about these regions, and I have dated in this region. Oh yeah, okay, it matches. Fierce
right
people.
Yeah, for sure. No one to cross, right?
Yes.
The Amazonian women, they find some semi-domesticated horses, steal them, obviously, and they begin raiding around the area. And word spreads to the Royal Scythians. The Royal Scythians are another group of Scythians who are like less nomadic and agricultural, which is why they're called the Royal Scythians. They say that these women, they can help our boys recover the old ways, because our women have settled down and they've turned themselves toward more like domestic chores, because now that we've got this agricultural system going on, the chores have polarized more or less, and these women became softer, so to speak.
Yeah.
So they set out, the Scythians and their boys, they Scythian men and their boys, they set out to put a stop to the raiding initially, and they start camping like closer and closer, right? And the way the author tells it, Adrian Mayer, like one dude and one woman like get together on the outskirts of each of their camp,
and
like they have sex, they get their cummies, and then the Amazonian, they both make a gesture to the other and indicate like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna bring a friend. You bring a friend too,
Yeah.
and they do that, and then
Yeah.
eventually it's just like a mass breeding event occurs.
Great. That's you know what I mean?
Everybody's fucking, man.
It's throughout history that's been proven out.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like
People be fucking.
everybody fucks.
Yep.
It's just
That's right.
you. It's just
Mhm.
you not fucking.
It's just you. Make you feel bad, you little wanker,
It's
right?
just you.
Mm-hmm.
You listening who hasn't had sex in months. It's
We
you.
get you a pull-up bar. And like,
all right, Henry. No, you don't get to give advice here. Let's
I have no I have no prescription. Just stop being a little douchebag. Stop
Did
thinking
you?
you're entitled to a woman. How about that?
No. It's
Okay?
okay.
Stop thinking you're entitled. You're not
I'm
entitled.
deleting this part
Okay?
of the podcast.
Okay. That's fine. There's a mass breeding event, and the Amazons, the Scythians don't learn their language, but the Amazons learn their language, right? They learn the Scythian language. They all become pregnant, and the Scythian men are like, oh, now that you're pregnant, like, let's go back to our main settlement. You can live with us on the royal Scythian lands, and you can settle. You can learn these domestic chores that we've taught to our royal Scythian women, and we'll pamper you, baby, all this kind of bullshit. And the Amazonians,
Yeah.
they say, hell no. They're like, we like our way of life. We like to hunt.
Yeah.
We like to shoot bows. We like to hurl spears. And we like to ride horses and raid. We're not about to be domesticated. We don't want to be pampered. How about you, Scythian men? You go get your shit and you come live with us. You go get whatever you'll need and you come and we'll resettle somewhere new. And so they ditch their wives and they travel like northeast from the Sea of Azov.
Yeah.
They settle down and collectively become the Sarmatians.
Okay. Again, Herodotus been true on a lot of things.
Yep.
So this might wild, dog. Wild.
Pretty crazy.
Mass niggas leaving their wives.
In mass. And forming an entire new cultural group.
An entire town being like, yeah, I found somebody better.
Yeah, it happens, it can happen on an interpersonal level. Like one-on-one is like, okay, I get it. But just like these women,
these niggas are
toxic.
Know what's up. These are the most toxic niggas I've ever met in my life.
Royal Scythian women, you don't want them, frankly. Because they're just gonna get up and leave for the first Amazonian hoe that gets blown about from the Black Sea to the Sea of Azov, right? You don't want that,
Damn, you
dump him.
Damn, you talking about something personal.
Dump him.
You're talking about something personal. That's nasty.
You don't need him. You'll be fine without these
man,
wankers. Think they're entitled. They think they're entitled. They think upgrade. Oh, upgrade. Shut the fuck up.
I mean,
you're trash.
Henry, I feel like there's a lot of stuff you're trying to figure out.
No, man. I
don't. Okay. All right, man.
You know what I mean?
No, no, I don't.
These
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I don't know.
I have no clue what you're talking
about. Okay.
I don't know. Let's talk about the Amazon.
Fair enough. You've yet to be red pilled, my man.
I don't know.
Red pilled by fifth wave feminism. Okay.
I know.
Ready for it?
I don't know.
Get you some of this sweet good. Right.
I don't.
Get on the train.
I know it's nasty. I don't know what you're doing right now.
Male promiscuity is the source of all evil. Okay.
Ooh, okay. All right. This podcast took
we must castrate ourselves.
Okay.
For the sake of the human race. We must castrate ourselves. A man must sacrifice his phallus in order.
This come from the Amazons? Was this in the book?
No, this is a cumulative. Okay. This is many sources on this one.
Okay. This is insane. Okay. All right. Let's keep the Amazon.
Sacrifice your phallus, fellas.
I'm gonna have to delete so much of this podcast.
So they did not have one breast. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
That there was a rumor that they would cut off one of their breasts in order to become better archers. I don't know who made that up. She does a whole chapter on it. I just figured I'd mention that was bullshit. And she posits that this is like a Greek denial of femininity, and that if we can make them something less than women, we won't be as attracted to them as we clearly are as a culture. All right, so getting into some we're going to talk about the actual Amazons now. a few notable Amazonians in myth, and then a few that we know concretely to have lived. The first being Atalanta, classic, as Greek myth. She was an Amazonian. She was a Renaissance woman in the eyes of the Greeks. She could wrestle any man, and she could bow and arrow. And there was this one story where she said she would take as a husband any man who could beat her in wrestling, and she killed those who failed, which was everyone. She killed a lot of people, but they knew what they're signing up for.
I feel like that is that. Yeah, that's super hot. Everybody's died. Everybody's died. Maybe I'm special.
They tried to date her. Yeah.
Maybe I'm special. Maybe I'm special. That's how people die. I don't know, man. That's how people die. That's how you
get killed, and then the body count increases, but not like the lay body count, like this dead body count.
This woman has ruined every nigga's life she's been with. Maybe I'm special. You're not, fam.
No,
you're not.
No, she's gonna suck you in. And she's gonna fucking kill you, man. You can't tame her. You can't tame her. Don't try to domesticate her because she's young, wild, and free. She doesn't need your mess. Okay, dump him.
This is the worst version of you.
There's also the ninth labor. The ninth labor of the city of, I think it's a fictional city. I think it's a mythical city of Tiryns. There's King Eurystheus. He orders Hercules to bring him the girdle of Ares, which was held by the Amazonian queen Hippolyte. King Eurystheus wants it for his daughter Admete. And so Hercules is like, okay, I've been signed up for these damn 12 labors. I gotta go get it. So he goes into Themyscira, which is like the uncharted land of the Amazons. I think like in the mythological timeline, Jason goes to Colchis, which is also the land of the Amazons, to get the Golden Fleece. But he like passes a warrior band of Amazons, but he's just like, that's weird. And he writes about it, but he doesn't land or anything. And so this is like Hercules is going there as like the first time that he's making contact. And so he approaches Queen Hippolyte. He explains the situation. In the like, I think the main version, Hippolyte agrees. They start sizing each other up, and they kind of like what they see, right? And so they start making out, basically. And Hera, who is Hercules's enemy, she descends, because Hera's a goddess. She descends disguised as an Amazon, basically says like, Hercules is taking the queen to battle. And the Amazons like charge the land. And so Hercules, he's like furious over this perceived deception. So he kills Hippolyte before she can call it off or express her own surprise, because she doesn't know what the hell is going on. And so Hercules just kills her and gets the girdle and takes the fuck off.
Okay, it wasn't in a Disney version.
Nah, it wouldn't be. Hercules was kind of a shitbag. That's what they don't tell you. Cancel Hercules, okay? There are other versions.
Taking all our heroes, though.
Taking all our heroes, man. Who we're going to be left with, right?
Yeah.
Hercules, he's just a fuckboy, or he was just like I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word. He was just too confident. A lot of these Greeks were just fuckboys. That's the thing.
This is a really bad version.
They say Greek life. They say Greek life. Well, I don't know what they mean. What do they mean Greek
version?
life?
This is a nasty version of you.
Like I've never heard anybody in like frat or anything like, oh, Greek life, like olives, I'm all about olives.
That's a swing and a miss.
That's a swing and a miss, right?
That's a swing and a miss. That's a big miss.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's a diamond in the rough. That's a lump of coal that just needs some refinement.
Really,
okay,
Henry, that's a
just needs some carbonation.
That's a really bad
joke. Bubbly coal.
Awful joke.
Olives.
No.
The simplicity. The way that's anchored.
Stop repeating the punchline to a bad joke.
It's nice. It works.
It does.
It'll work.
It'll work. Not.
It'll work. There's other versions. There's Hercules. Some say that he defeats like a number of Amazonian women in a series of one-on-one combat. And then Hercules and Hippolyte are eventually like, they start fighting, and they're like very evenly matched, and their battle is described in like, very suspenseful, tantalizing detail until Hercules finally gets the upper hand and he slays Hippolyte. And then the other part of this story. Some say that the Athenian mythic hero Theseus is also present, and he kidnaps the Amazonian woman Antiope. Antiope. I think it's Antiope, not Antiope. That sounds like antelope, and that would sound dumb. But Antiope, Antiope. I'm going with Antiope.
Yeah.
So the thing about that gets us to the next story. Antiope, the Amazons, they defy traditional marriage customs, at least according to the Greeks, by demanding equality or forsaking marriage altogether. Yeah. Here, Antiope is forced to abide by the laws and customs of the Greeks because she's taken by Theseus and she's basically like impressed into being his wife.
Yeah.
Some say that it was on a separate expedition from the Hercules expedition, that she was like lured onto Theseus's ship after presenting him with gifts, and they just go and sail off with her. Others say that she fell in love with Theseus, that she rejected her Amazonian way of life in favor of that of the Greeks. That's a little more like Greek nationalist sentiment, I feel like, kicking in, you know, like, oh, of course she would want to live as a Greek because we're so great, you know.
No, she probably didn't want to do that.
I don't think so.
I don't think that. I mean, I don't know about that.
So she stays in Athens with Theseus for a little bit, and her and Theseus, they have a child, which is Hippolytus, which is the male equivalent of the name Hippolytus. Yeah. Theseus leaves her for this other hoe, Phaedra, and Antiope gets enraged. She says that she's going to kill everybody at their wedding, and Theseus, he like consults a soothsayer who tells him that he has to kill her in order to prevent the atrocity, and really he does so.
Really obvious.
What you have to do. I don't know if you needed a soothsayer for that.
You didn't need a soothsayer for that. But you could have just went to me. I was told you. Yeah. But you gotta kill her, dog. That. She said she tried to kill your family. You gotta kill her, dog.
I think you gotta kill her, man. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to. I know it's kind of messy, but
at the wedding, yeah, you gotta kill her, dog.
C'est la vie, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
This is kind of cool because I thought it was she was like returned to her fearful aspect. Like the whole premise of the story is like, you know, bro, what if we took an Amazonian and we made her a Greek, and then while she was in Greece, she became an Amazonian again. You know, so it's like it's Euroboric. It ends where it began. It's like so it's just a good story.
There's also my man loves a circle.
Yeah, man. That's what other ways there to do it, you know? All occurs within the realm of the mother.
Henry's losing it.
I'm losing it, man. I've been inside too long. I've been reading too much, man. I'm going crazy. The Battle for Athens is another mythic event. It's recorded by Plutarch in the 1st century AD, or that's like the longest account that we have. And he notes that the Athenians still made traditional sacrifices to the Amazonian spirits before Theseus's annual festival. So the Athenians, they still have an annual festival for Theseus, and they're still sacrificing to the Amazonians because, you know, they respect them.
Yeah.
Queen Orythia of Pontus comes back from her conquests, and she hears that bitch ass old Theseus had kidnapped Antiope, and Melanippe tells her of Hercules killing Hippolyte as well. And so Queen Orythia is like, hell no, these are two audacious affronts. I will not abide by this. She leads a Scythian army. It is specified by Plutarch in the myth that it is a Scythian army led specifically by the Amazons. So they would go west across Anatolia or Turkey, and then they go south from Thrace, which is now like the Balkans, and they penetrate the Amazonian, brigade, penetrates the walls of Athens and sets up camp at a rocky outlook across from the Acropolis. And this is a spot on the map known as the Amazonium. And Theseus, he's used to killing Amazons at this point, clearly, right? He rallies his men and he converges on a certain spot between the Acropolis and the Amazonium, and there's fierce, nasty fighting for a while, and ching, 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 death and everything. And the Greeks are initially outnumbered, but then they rout the Amazons, and there's a truce declared at the Orcomoseum, which is known as the Oath Shrine. there's another version of or like an elaboration on the story is that Antiope, she didn't go crazy and try to like kill everybody at the wedding. She was still in love with Theseus while the Battle of Athens was going on.
Yeah.
And so she helps get some Amazonian dead outside of the city so they can be buried. But she's ultimately slain by another Amazon known as Mulpedia, who threw a javelin at Theseus but hit Antiope.
Yeah.
And so there's this sort of question of like, there's another version of the story where it was like, oh, Antiope saw the javelin coming and intercepted it because she was so in love with Theseus. I guess in this version, he didn't leave her for Phaedra, and she just got used to Greek life, you know, olives. Yeah. Right. All right.
And you come back around to a joke that you know, the second time, it was more subtle. We liked it. We liked the second time, but the first time, ew.
I get it. I get it if they called it like Dionysian life, you know, because Dionysus was all about getting drunk and fucking bitches. You know, that was what, and men for that matter. Only they weren't ashamed of it. Dionysius wasn't ashamed of it, like the modern Greek life kids are. You know,
somebody, hey man, what I mean, it's like if some people are gay, people have to come out the closet, and it happens.
Not in Greek life. Cool.
Yeah, that's
not in Greek life. You just gotta.
Those dudes
you just gotta have weird events and shameful glances and
they come out after. They come out after.
Yeah. But you can't do it inside the ecosystem. You know,
you can. There's where.
Aren't you like excommunicated?
No, that's not.
You get excommunicated from frats.
No, what you
by the archbishop?
You get excommunicated by the school. The school kicks you off campus, and yeah, that's how you get kicked out. Real. I mean, also you get kicked out when you don't pay shit.
So. Yeah. Or for getting drunk and throwing up in class too much, right?
No, like they don't care. That's how you become a legend.
Okay. All right. Cool, guys.
That's how you become a fucking legend. Rages all the time, dude. 24/7.
Greek life.
Rage.
Dionysian life.
Okay.
We should say. That's better. It's more accurate. All right.
It's
Dionysian life.
I literally.
It's not one syllable though.
I gave you a little rope on the joke and you just keep going on it. And it's like getting worse.
I'm working it out, man. It's got legs.
It's not
got legs.
This is not an open mic.
It's got legs.
It's not an open mic. This is a podcast.
It's got legs, brother. It's got legs, man.
It does. You haven't been out the house. You need to get it for a real crowd.
The Battle for Athens, it's a myth of the city dated to like the 5th century BCE. It's depicted in art. And it's like, it's an expression of like Greek or specifically Athenian fear. And it's sort of like a what if scenario. Like, we got all these badass warrior women to the east. What if they came and fought us and took our city and we had to have a big epic battle, you know? But also it's sort of like a localized, reflavored Iliad, you know, or with Antiope acting as Helen of Troy and Theseus acting as Paris. So I thought that was kind of cool because you just see a parallel. In 380 BCE, Isocrates, and he's writing about the battle for Athens. He says that the 3 leading threats to the Athenians were the Persians, the Thracians, and the Scythians, led by the Amazons. So he specifies them, which I thought was kind of cool. Then we're going to the Trojan War. This is actually coming from a lost book of the Trojan War known as the Aethiopis, which is a lost book of the Iliad attributed to Arctinos of Miletos in the 8th or 7th century BCE. It's the legend of Penthesilea, who is an Amazonian queen summoned by King Priam after Achilles faces down Hector and drags his corpse in front of the walls. You seen Troy?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's pretty.
I don't watch. I don't. Isn't Brad Pitt in that?
Yes.
I don't watch Brad Pitt movies.
Why not?
Oh my God, he's not a good actor.
Hey man, you're full of shit. You shut your mouth. Okay,
he's good. I've heard your White King.
You crossed
the line. I've heard your White King. I've heard your White King. Okay, I'm sorry.
He's good. He's not bad. Like he is.
We get it. He
deserves the hype. No, he deserves the hype. All right. He's not only a hot boy, but he's talented. Okay.
No,
he's good.
I beg to differ.
He's good.
I beg to differ.
Listen, he's good. He's good.
Okay. I beg to differ.
Watch the movie. It's anyway. It's right after the movie. Right after the movie ends, or they take some liberties in that as well. Where Paris, I don't know if Paris kills Hector, but this is like, you know, Aethiopis It's elaborated and retold in The Fall of Troy by Quintus in the 3rd century AD. The telling goes that Penthesilea comes and she is lavished with gifts by King Priam. So King Priam's clearly like, showing respect because he has to, he must. And she came to fight, Penthesilea came to fight supposedly for accidentally killing her sister Hippolyte, not the Hippolyte of the Hercules story, while hunting a stag, another just rogue javelin. Yeah. And Penthesilea needed to summon a host and come fight at Troy in order to cleanse herself of the accidental slaying of her sister. Okay. So she comes from Thrace with like 12 other Amazonian warriors, and it's described as like an advanced guard in fighting with the Greeks, like in front of the Trojans, and her friends are dying around her, but she's likened in the telling to like a lioness, and she's just felling one foe after another with these battle axes, and just she's like screaming, just like, "Where is Achilles?
Yeah.
Where is Ajax? They dare not face me!" So just hacking it up. Right? She's ultimately slain by Achilles. And so she has a showdown with him. They go back and forth for a while. Achilles, being the badass warrior god that he is, he slays her, but he removes her helmet as she's dying and is smitten by her beauty. And he likens her like Artemis after a satisfying hunt, with her locks like gently falling in her face. Yeah. And she's pardoned for the accidental killing of her sister, and like all classic Greek heroes, is martyred in glory and achieves this glorious, memorable death where history will remember her name, and so we did.
Yeah.
Her corpse is handed back to Priam, also, unlike Hector initially, and her body is burned in a funeral pyre along with her horse, which is like in accordance with the custom that was already in place, burial with the horse. So then we've got now we're this next Amazonian, she might have existed. So we're crossing through the realm of myth into the realm of supposed fact or fiction.
It's so we're passing into fact. So
passing into fact. I think she existed. Okay. It's just not concretely established.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the late summer of 330 BC. Alexander the Great is camped in Hyrcania, which is like I think like northern Iran. It would be the southern tip of the Caspian Sea, Hyrcania. And Queen Thalestris and a band of 300 Amazons shows up in his camp. And the queen, she comes and she's heard of his prowess as a warrior and a world conqueror. Yeah. And she wants to bear his child subsequently. And this telling comes from Diodorus in the 1st century BC and Curtius in the 1st century AD. And Thalestris, she kind of sizes up Alexander the Great, and she's initially pretty unimpressed with his physique. Yeah. She's like, this little shrimp is a world conqueror. This is your guy. I don't see it, but sure,
he wasn't a particularly like big dude. He's also, the Greeks aren't the most like massive people.
Imposing,
yeah. In general, they're not. Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of a wild way to roll up. Be like, hey, I came here to see you, and I'm unimpressed. Why did you come to fucking see me? You could have not.
Oh, because I thought you'd be bigger.
You couldn't.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I thought you'd be bigger.
Yeah,
than you are. You're pretty shrimpy.
I'm sorry that like I'm me, nigga. Like, what?
Don't believe the hype.
Yeah, no.
Don't believe the hype. All right.
No, it's like no. Fuck you for coming here with these assumptions of me, a person. That's how I feel. I side with Alexander the Great on this one.
Nah, I'm with Thalestris, man.
You're with Thalestris, just because. Yeah.
All right.
All right. All right.
I thought don't get all bent out of shape. I just thought you'd be bigger.
Body shaming. Check. Body shaming.
Hey, but this is toward a dude, and this is a double standard that is allowed to be in place. Okay.
Nope,
all right.
It's not. It should not be. Nope.
Dump him.
The worst version of Henry is the feminist Henry. It's the worst version of Henry.
So Alexander the Great, he sets aside 13 days to make love to her, make sweet, passionate, to get them both their cummies. You know what I mean? So he ensures.
Ew.
It's my favorite word.
That's the nastiest thing. Because I know your partner. I've been in y'all's home. And I don't ever want to think about that ever. Ew. But also 13 days.
13 days.
What is he gonna do with the other
Because
12
you gotta
and a
hit
half
the
days?
ovulation days, you know?
No, what is he gonna do with the other? Oh, so that's why he did. For the third, he was trying to hit the ovulation days.
Yeah.
I thought he was just like, this dick takes 13 days, girl. I
Takes
thought that's what.
13
Yeah,
days for me to belch, you know?
yeah. I thought he was just like, I'm gonna fuck you for 13 days, which is a wild statement.
It's pretty crazy.
That's a pretty dope statement, though.
They didn't even speak the same language either. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Like they were just sort of like, you know, probably having to do signage, just like, you know, circle one hand, index finger in the other, and just like, she's just nodding, like,
she did not come.
Some kind of something.
She did not.
If I don't know. I mean, she was unimpressed with his size, so maybe there's something there, right?
Yeah. All right.
She also says that she would return the child to him if it was a boy, but keep her if it was a girl, which is also kind of in accordance with some Amazonian customs that they would like cast out the men, similar to Spartans, I guess, if like the baby was born, only they did it kind of by gender. So it's different.
Yeah.
And then like as a proof, this doesn't come from either of the two aforementioned historians, but as proof that this could have occurred, that Alexander also encourages men to take barbarian wives. And there are a bunch of like mixed families that traveled in his entourage. And so it's not necessary. And like Alexander also sired a shit ton of kids throughout the world. So this wouldn't be necessarily out of the question for him.
Of course. Yeah.
And then in these accounts, it said that Alexander goes on home. And while Queen Thalestris, it said that she returned to Pontus and died. And Adrian Mayer is saying that as to lend credit, she says that the ending to this story lends credibility to the fact that that Diodorus and Curtius were telling the truth. Because if this was an entirely fabricated account, it'd be like, oh, and then she went home and birthed a girl, and the girl went on to did wonderful things, you know, and it's sort of like, okay, you're clearly just telling a fairy tale here, but saying like she returned to Pontus and died. It's pretty unexciting. So, like, as is life, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we out here, you know, sometimes with history, you get to the end of it, you just kind of guess.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's the best guess. Like, but we have no fucking idea.
Yeah, she just died.
She died. Oh, she died. Okay. Yeah.
All right. It's kind of an anticlimax. Like that. We don't know if she did or did not exist. We just know that she has been written about by these sources. And so it's kind of like
this is some of these sources. We all can talk. We can talk for days about Greek
because we do know Amazonians existed.
Yeah.
We just don't know if they intersected with Alexander the Great to this degree. Although they have been, although it was recorded, although it was written about, but we don't know.
We don't know.
Getting into what we know concretely, the Amazonian women we know for sure existed. 3rd century BC, there's Teuta, who's the pirate queen of the Ardei tribe of Illyria. She had a castle at Rezone in the Bay of Kotor. We're talking about Montenegro, basically, which is like right in between. You know, it's like the western coast of the Balkans. So right in between Italy and Greece, sort of on the Adriatic Sea. She inherited her husband's pirate kingdom, similar to Chungi Sao and Boudica. Only Boudica wasn't a pirate, but still inherited her husband's kingdom. And she preyed upon the merchant vessels of the Romans and the Greeks. And she had like lightweight galleys with 2 banks of rowers. They were attached with a rostrum for ramming ships. And sometimes it was like in the shape of a dragon. And then they would just row their ship into another ship and then board it and then kill everybody and take all their shit. The rating gets bad. Rome declares war on her in 229 BC, and eventually they overwhelm her. They force her to give up piracy and pay tribute and release Roman deserters who had joined her confederation. So she was like that well known that Romans are like, hey, fuck this, I'm gonna hang out with you guys. In 2012, there's a Polish dig in the region, and they uncover like large swaths of Teuta's treasure. And they have like coins featuring Artemis, which were also Artemis was also worshipped by the Amazons in Anatolia. So there's the link. And then the last one we'll talk about is in 120 BC. There's King Mithridates VI. He inherits Pontus, and he's warring with Pompey, the general of Rome. Hypsicratia is said to be his last queen, and she's said to be like a woman warrior who was on the front lines with him, who shared in his exile after Pompey defeated him. They're like paintings of King Mithridates the Sixth and Hypsicratia like leading armies together. Yeah. There's like coins and medallions that feature her portrait and whatnot. And Plutarch says that she never tired of rough riding in combat. He names her as a concubine rather than a queen, however, because, you know, he's Greek and they had hella concubines and hella wives as well. Yeah. How did they meet? In 69 BC, Mithridates, he was kicked out of his kingdom in Pontus and he wants to reclaim it. He's like pushed into the Caucasus region and Colchis. He's trying to assemble like a light, more mobile army capable of guerrilla tactics. And it's speculated that this is where he met Hypsicratia. And then in the Mithridatic Wars, Roman historians actually record fighting Amazonian women who were like clad in furs and fighting on horseback with shields, axes, spears, and bows. Some of these women, after they were defeated, were conquered and then enslaved, taken back to Rome and paraded as captives, specifically in Pompey's victory parade in 61 BC. There you have Amazons in Rome.
Yep. And guys, that has been our episode on the Amazons, Amazonian women, the real kind of facts, or you know, the historical accounts from Greek historians. Thank you, Henry, for doing the research on that one. That was really nice. Of course, I like that. I did not know a lot about the Amazons before we kind of looked into it. Know a lot about it now. Hope you do too.
Yeah, they're cool.
Henry, who are we doing next? We're doing
next week. Let me check.
Next week, yeah. Sometimes we don't have this stuff up.
Next week, I believe we're doing Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette. Okay, all right.
That's right,
guys. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time from Marie Antoinette. We love you. You can find us on Hard Fight History. You can find us at Hard Fight History on Instagram and Facebook, HFS Podcast on Twitter, Hard Fight History on YouTube. Also, follow me at Joshua B. Stokes on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, also, whatever. And Henry, where can they follow you at?
You can find me at Orpheus McSwade.
Okay, all right. And that
on all platforms. Orpheus McSwade.
You just changed that?
Yeah, that's me. I'm Orpheus McSwade now.
Okay, I mean that's pretty good. I like that.
Thanks. Right, I just made it up.
We see you next time.
Okay. All right.
Bye.